The street outside Israel's embassy in London has been a regular meeting point for demonstrators showing solidarity with Palestinians, particularly since Israel's 22-day war on Gaza. But this time it was the turn of hundreds of members of the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community to protest. They believe that Zionism and Judaism are two distinct and incompatible schools of thought. The hundreds of ultra-Orthodox Jews who've gathered here go as far as to say that Israel itself is a source of Jewish suffering and anti-Semitism. They believe that Israeli society doesn't represent Judaism, and Israel's very existence is against the teachings of the Torah.
We believe that the time will come when Messiah will come, that is when the Jewish people will go back to Jerusalem. But we will not do that by force, we will not do that by an army. We have no entitlement to kill others for our ambitions. Jewish people are considered from a religious point of view to be Jewish. We have no rights over other people. We have no right to tell others what to do or where to go. Jewish people are religiously Jewish, that we have a code of conduct how we behave. That's not to say that we can tell Palestinian people or any other people where they should go or what they should do.
True Judaism has absolutely nothing in common with the state of Israel. They do not represent us and we do not believe in them. Any act done by them has nothing to do with Jews. We're actually not demonstrating against singular acts of atrocities and brutality done by the so-called state of Israel against its Jewish nation. We're actually demonstrating against the actual existence. The whole idea of Zionism is against the Jewish belief. There should be no such a thing as the Israeli state. The name Israel has been stolen from the Bible. The proof of that is that everything they do, all the acts, it's not just acts of brutality. They are aimed at uprooting the Jewish belief, the belief in God, not just from the Jewish people, from the whole world. It is true that many of these things which they have done is an outcome of that. Proof is they have arrested mothers and fathers of young children because they do not want to educate the children in the Zionistic belief. They want to do it in the true tradition. It's true that now they're doing everything they can to uproot every single burial ground they can lay their hands on to show that they do not believe in the internal of the soul. They do not believe in spirituality. They will many times use religious symbols such as the name Israel or the Star of David on the flag to show as if they're representing the Jewish nation. Because without religion, what is the Jewish nation? Nothing. Therefore, they're using everything they can, every single religious sign to pretend they represent us. But nothing can be further from the truth.
The Orthodox Jews here in London also claimed that their friends in Israel were being mistreated by the authorities for holding similar protests and wanted to leave Israel to seek asylum elsewhere.
The Zionist government are not allowed to take away our rights, that we are considered now as refugees and people who are looking for asylum in all over the world.
The Jews against Zionism do accept that in today's world they hold a minority view amongst the Jewish community. Most Jewish sects support Israel and some pro-Israeli passers-by. The gathering, although attended by close to 1,000 people, was largely ignored by the British media. But the protest follows similar larger actions in the US during a recent visit by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Hassan Ghani, Press TV, London.
Who are true to Judaism and who are ready to be vocal, speak out against this new type of movement, this ideology called Zionism in the State of Israel, which simply has hijacked, stolen the Jewish identity. We feel the suffering, we see the terrible atrocities, the genocide that is being committed now in Gaza, and it actually has been occurring for now over 60 years, and it's 100 years basically since a movement, a purely political, flawed a movement called Zionism, which is a nationalism to have a piece of land. It has gone and decided with a flawed logic and a selfish agenda to take the land of Palestine and to use it in order to create its nationalism, and now it's getting the respectability of the world and the credence of the world simply because it is using the Jewish identity, it is using the Bible, it has stolen the Star of David, and calling themselves the State of Israel. In other words, it's using the Jewish nation, the Judaism, as a tool in order to oppress and subjugate the people of Palestine. Who knows what they're doing now? We cannot stand by silently. We must get up and scream as God is righteous and God is compassionate. We Jews who are made a covenant with God, we have to speak up and say, have this. People of the world, don't stand by silently. The governments of the world, it's a deafening silence. Stand up and let us save these people of Gaza, and let us live once again in unity and harmony with a land which we pray to the God, free of Zionism. We pray, all of us pray for the speedy and peaceful dismantlement of this State of Israel, this flawed political entity that speaks in the name of God. That the Ayatollah Khomeini at the beginning wrote, I recognize the difference between the religion Judaism and the nationalism of Zionism. I'm not quoting him word for word, but that's what he said. As I say, he distinguishes between the two, between the religion and this nationalism. And therefore he left the Jewish community there, and they're still today, they have 25,000 people, thank God, Jewish people living there, and they're able to practice their religion. When we went there, it was interesting because if you go to Europe, many places, they are fearful of putting up signs over the synagogues. And we were in Iran, and we were in Tehran, and we were pleasantly surprised to see synagogues with their names outside.
It's completely true that Iran is completely against Israel. So it is not true.
Israel, yes. Judaism or Jews, no.
It is very difficult for us.
There is a very big difference between the two. Judaism is religion to serve God. Israel is religious. Is the religion. Israel is the name that the Zionists took to as the name of their occupation of another people.
And that is
me, these people.